Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And you are the magician. You're the magic maker, okay? You are the one who is sort of transmitting your intention to the outside world. You're causing change. You're the one that has to speak up, stay focused. I think you're very committed to your goals. I think you know what they are. And I think you're prioritizing your development, okay? Sometimes the magician is this card of adaptation, of how we are growing into the situation we're in, how we are sort of like we're filling the shoes that we have, that we've acquired for ourselves, yeah? So I feel like you're growing. I feel like there's a lot of internal sort of development here. I also feel like there is a shift in some way. I feel like your role in life is shifting a little bit, yeah? I feel like you're very intelligent and you have a very strong skill set and you're very capable of learning more. So I feel like there really is like this growth that's taking place now for you. The magician is all about manifestation. It's all about focus and how you are channeling your personal power to transform your life. Okay? Let's put this card into a little bit of context and let's see how you are doing all of this. We've got the devil energy, okay? There's a lot of endurance. There's a lot of drive, yeah? Two of Cups, Princess of Swords, Seven of Cups, and the Five of Wands. We've got a Nine of Swords, but a Two of Swords, a Seven of Swords, but an Ace of Cups. Interesting there. We kind of have problem, solution, you know. The mind seems like it's starting to get a little overactive here. And I think that it really is like this devil card, this driving force that's within you, has to stay connected with that sense of purpose. Okay, and as long as, even when things get challenging and confusing and we're feeling like we're stuck or we're lost or there's just too many options in front of us, fall back on the heart. Let your heart decide. Okay, because we can see that the mind is losing sleep trying to figure out perhaps which option now to choose, what's the way forward at this current kind of juncture. Your heart knows. Okay, your mind may not, but your heart does. So the goat really needs to follow the heart. Okay, let's select the mystery card. Bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the Factor Infinite and Unknown. We're going to set this down right over here with Alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top, ASMR for short. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments right below the video. Now let's take a look around the room. Because the two major cards that we see is the Magician and the Devil. Okay, the Magician right now trying to operate the car, trying to use this driving force to push your sort of design forward, right? To push your life forward, to push your magic forward. Okay, and what I feel like here, right here in the center, especially with that Seven of Cups, is that we're a little bit stuck right now. There's kind of this idea of either things have slowed down, or we're not making the progress, or there are too many choices, too many options right now. We're not sure which direction to go to get out of this sort of stuck feeling. We're trying to we're trying to drive the goat up the mountain. And that's kind of what we see with this way forward. We're going to be pushing through to get ourselves unstuck, but we need to reconnect with our purpose here, because the water energy is the why you are doing this. Okay? We have to have a good reason. Now, I want to point out also that we've got fire, we've got water, 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 we've got air, air, air. A lot of air, but no earth. So a lot of thinking, a lot of tinkering with ideas, but perhaps not a plan of action yet. Also, the absence of the earth cards, the pentacles, right? They're not here. Because it doesn't really matter what you're doing right now. What matters is how you're doing it and why. And I think the why is the big thing here. You've got to have a good reason. You've got to reconnect with that kind of original desire, because that's going to supercharge your motivation and your drive. Maybe that 7 of Cups is just feeling a little demotivated right now. Okay? Maybe this is you and your partner, or you're a collaborator, or a business associate or something like that. And maybe there's not the cooperation or the harmony that we're looking for yet. Maybe we're not quite on the same page. And the air energy, let's say you're trying to explain to the other person what we're doing and how we're going to do it. But what really needs to be shared is that why. You need to get them as fired up as you are about something, right? And if you both can connect with that reason for doing it, then you can get on the same page about how we're doing it. Because the swords cards are more about the how. Let's figure out how we're doing it, okay? And the water cards, to me, the cups here feel like the why. And I think that's really, we got to reconnect with that, the reason. And once we do that, we're going to get motivated, and we're going to be much more able to just kind of see a clear path. All right. So anyway, no pentacles, right? Let's start with our magician, though. Because again, choose the goal. One goal, understand what that goal is, and focus on it. And what we're trying to do is turn all of this thought into action. Okay, we're trying to figure out the way forward, how to drive that goat up the mountain. Okay, you're going to use all the tools, all the skills, all the resources that you already have. I don't feel like this is really needing you to acquire anything new. Okay? What I feel like it's really asking is for you to reconnect with something, Reconnect with that reason why. So right now, communicate clearly. And this may have to do either with yourself, having this conversation with ourselves, or there could be a person with you, a collaborator, maybe it's your spouse or your partner or friend or something like this. Because it feels like there's some discord here somewhere in your life. There's some friction somewhere, okay? And so I feel like we really need that open and honest communication so that we can all be on the same page, so that we can both agree on, like, why we're doing this. Because once we have that shared goal or that shared reason, the why, then we can cooperate on the how do we get there. Okay? And it doesn't matter what that goal is, whether this is like you and your partner want to get out of debt or buy a house, or you want to create something. Okay? You're working toward a common goal. We have to share and talk about and remind each other why we're doing that. Like, what is the reason behind this particular goal for you? Okay? Because then we can take very strong, assertive action to set the momentum, and we can get the ball rolling again. Yeah. I think you're somebody that likes to track things, metrics, numbers. You probably like spreadsheets like I do. The magician is kind of, the nerd, technical kind of person, right? And I mean that in a very endearing way because I'm that way. I like to see the numbers. I like to look at the spreadsheets. I like charts and graphs and all that sort of thing. And so I feel like that's going to be very important for you. And you may get very excited about those things. If there is a partner here with you, they may not get so excited about looking at the spreadsheets because maybe they need the information presented in a different way, or maybe they need to really with you connect on that purpose, on that why. Let's get on the same page emotionally first, and then we can get on the same page with like the technical side of things, okay? But I feel like you like to see that progress, and you like to track the numbers and that sort of thing, okay? Your confidence here is going to grow as we start to move. And with the 7 and the 9, and well, we have both 7s, your heart and your mind both in a 7 here. And we have, of course, our 9 of swords. I feel like there is just that lack of momentum right now. Things are just feeling like they're just dragging down, or they're just kind of stopped. And that's what we are trying to fix, okay? Your power is going to return to you once we focus our energy and we start driving that goat up that mountain, you know? So this is a very good card, and I think that what you're trying to do is perfectly within your wheelhouse. You're more than capable of doing it. I don't think there's anything you're lacking in order to reach your goal right now, you know? Let's talk about the Devil card. This is the engine of the car, and the Magician is trying to be a good driver, right? But it feels like we're spinning the tires. We're stuck in the mud, you know? This is your endurance. This is your real drive and desire to get to the top of the mountain, to get whatever's up there for you, whatever the goal is, okay? There's not, the desire is not the problem here, okay? It's about getting the traction. It's about finding something that's going to allow us to take that next step forward and feel like, okay, we're accelerating now. We're picking up speed here. Okay. So with the Devil card, sometimes we need to look at patterns that we've been involved with, that we've been repeating. Okay. Because maybe we've been approaching something in a way that hasn't been working. And if we keep doing the same things, we're going to keep getting the same result. Nothing changes if nothing changes, you know. But also, you know, the Devil is asking about our motivation. It's, again, asking the why. Why are you trying to climb this particular mountain? And if you can't answer that question right now, then it's no wonder that we feel stuck. We feel stuck in the mud. We feel like we're not getting any traction at the wheels, you know. Wheel of Fortune, or the chariot's wheels, yeah? So we need to get that traction, which means we need to reconnect with the purpose and the why, because that's going to motivate us to really dig in deep and give ourselves that push. And whether that's us connecting with our purpose again, or getting somebody else kind of on board with that motivation. Maybe you're in a partnership. I feel like there's somebody else with you that you're maybe trying to collaborate with or work together with, right, or something like that. But it could be that you're just, that other person's not motivated with you. So I feel like there's this reconnection that needs to take place. Because I feel like you are driven, and you are like hooked onto this path. And I just feel we need that activation inside of us again, okay, in order to get the goat moving. If this is the engine of the car, the water energy, the sense of purpose, becomes the fuel for that engine. Okay. So this is really, the Devil card is this card of self-honesty, being very, very honest with ourselves about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And, you know, it could even be that we're not motivated by the same things anymore. So I think there needs to be that conversation, at least with yourself. If there is another person with you, have that conversation with them and just be honest. Say, look, do we still want the same things? Are we still driven with the same purpose as fuel, to get to the goal? Like, do you want it as bad as I do? Do we want the same things? Do I want it the same way I used to, being able to have that conversation, I feel like there's going to be a union of the heart, especially with that Two of Cups, there's going to be that union of the heart where I think you with yourself or with the other person, you get on the same page emotionally. Okay, whether this is about, the career or the family's, the family's sort of trajectory, or some creative project, or maybe just like romantically even. For some of you, this might be the romantic relationship that we need to have that conversation and be like, do we still want the same things? Okay. Anyway, the Two of Cups underneath the surface. This is love. This is a union. To me, this feels like a real desire in your heart to merge with this goal, with this path, or with this relationship. I feel like there really is a desire in you, right? This is someone who really wants connection. This is a harmony and a union. This is a meaningful bond, whether it's romantic or creative or even professional. Okay. And this is you speaking directly and being very honest, having a heart-to-heart with somebody. You know what I mean? And I think that this is kind of what's needed internally as well as if there's another person, in order to have that sort of union. Because what you're going to use this water energy for is like a compass, to make sure that and fuel, to make sure that you're going in the right direction and you're motivated to get there. This is love. I think you're somebody that you want that kind of union. You want that sort of connection. You want the love. This is self-love, divine love, platonic love, romantic love. This is pets, plants, people. This is that harmony. Okay. And this is a relationship, let's say, that is reciprocal, uplifting, respectful, mutual, right? Two-way street of love and affection, supportive. Okay. We don't want there to be disharmony here. Because if you're driven to get up that mountain, but your other person, they're not, well, they're dragging you down. You're trying to go up, they're trying to go down, and we're going to be stuck. Okay? So that's kind of what I'm feeling, is that one of you is driving this way, one of you is driving that way. What we need is union. Okay? And that could be just about you. It could be there's something inside of you that you just kind of feel like you're torn in two different directions. Because what is the Nine of Swords? Tearing apart. This is union, coming together. You want union. This is what you need, really. But this is kind of your general energy. This is how you feel now. And I think that it's kind of something's tearing you apart rather than bringing things together. And it could really be inside of you. Maybe you're having doubts. Maybe you're thinking part of you wants to go this way, part of you wants to go that way. Maybe your heart and your mind. Your heart wants this over here, your mind wants that over there. Maybe it's you and your best friend or your spouse or your partner or your business collaborator or your associate or whatever. It's almost like there are two goats inside of you and they're each going in a different direction, and it's just causing stress and friction and turmoil and this feeling of being torn asunder. Yeah. Well, what we want is union. What we want is to feel like we're of one heart and one mind. Okay? Well, that's why we have a 2 and a 2. Okay? We have the 7 and the 7. The heart and the mind in a 7, which is off balance, which is kind of saying that, like, we want one thing, but there are a lot of other things out there too, and maybe we're kind of being pulled in many different directions. Okay? But we also have the 2 and the 2. What we want is union. What we need is to be on the same page mentally and emotionally. Of course, with that Ace of Cups, I feel like that's what's going to happen. But I feel like we need to have that conversation either with ourselves or with the other person so that we can have that union. Because as things exist now, there is too much pulling apart. Okay? Whether this is a family thing, it's at work, at home, at school, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you see. Whatever the goals are, we got to have that conversation to make sure we're on the same page. It's pretty straightforward, you know. You have a Princess of Swords back here, too. This is a very curious energy. And what it's telling me is that you've already done the homework on this. You've already, looked at everything. You already were, seeking out answers and asking questions. You're already learning new skills and gathering information. You already have all the data that you need. Okay? So this isn't really the time for you now to be exploring other options. It's like you've already done that. You know? And now is really the time for, I feel like, commitment. Now's the time for let's pinky promise with each other, Let's take that oath and let's do it. And either that's just you, inside of you, saying, you know what, it's not the time for me to be curious. This is yesterday's energy. Yesterday's energy is curious and restless and asking questions and observing and gathering information and learning new skills and researching and, all that sort of stuff. Today's energy is about focused effort up the mountain. The magician is concentrated spiritual energy, focused in a particular direction to drive the physical vehicle, right? You, your body, your life, up the friggin' mountain. This is today's energy. Today's energy feels like there's still other things out there that I could want. Well, how do I know which one I really want to unite with? Well, we have to have that conversation. But yesterday's energy, this was the curious, exploratory, I'm gonna take a look at a lot of other options. We should already be decided now. You see what I mean? And so then what we have now, though, is this Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is having a difficult time committing to one particular path. This is too many possibilities. This is an emotional fog. This feels like we're kind of in this emotional swamp. I'm not really sure which direction to go. We have too many choices. Okay? But there's no commitment here. We're just sort of treading water. We're wading, in the swampy waters. And I feel that we need to sort of check in with the heart and with our person, if there's another person, and ask our souls, what is it that I really want? Because the Seven of Cups is there's a lot of other options out there that are masquerading as beautiful, pure, loving, perfect options. But I think when you look closely, you realize that these are illusions. These are temptations. And the devil, too, is kind of the temptation card, right? So I feel that, you need to reconnect with what you really want and why you want it. Because there are a lot of things out there that are trying to get you. They're trying to seduce you, tempt you away from what you really want to do. Okay? Not all that glitters is gold for you. Look for the inner resonance. Okay, talk to your person and really have that heart-to-heart that says, are we still in it? Are we still here together? Are we going to do this together? Do we both still want the same things, whether it's the family or the financial stuff or building the business together or just building the life together, having a future, building the relationship, whatever it is, buying the home, anything. Or do we still want to do the garden? Do we still want to take that vacation? It doesn't matter. This is us being tempted by other prospects that may seem at first glance to be very pretty, but they're not for you. Got to check in with the heart. Clear the illusion here by choosing what feels true, not what seems, easier, not the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit will not satisfy you. Doing the difficult, challenging work because it's what your heart knows is the right answer, that's going to reward you. This is a dead end up here, okay? But this is maybe like what you or even the other person are sort of considering, that there's just a lot of other things out there that I could be doing. No, but those are not going to fulfill you. They may fill you up for 5 minutes, but then you're going to be hungry again like that. You know what I mean? Choosing the right path, that's going to keep you satisfied for a lot longer. Yeah. Moving forward into the Five of Wands here, this is push. This is striving. This is fighting for something. This is friction. This is it's the five-fingered hand, right? Reaching out into the universe and asserting itself. This is you pushing. This is you advocating for yourself. This is you striving toward your goal. Okay? You're channeling your energy into movement. Yeah. This is a card. This is a fight card. Like literally, it's a fight card. Okay. Stay aligned with your direction and push forward. This is the goat here, taking a step up the mountain, and every step is a victory. We're overcoming inertia with every step we take. We're sort of overcoming gravity, right? It's easy to just sit here and do nothing and just feel the weight. But then it's like every step we take is a defiance of that inertia. Okay? So we're wrestling with something here. We're pushing back against just even sitting up straight, right, is a win against gravity. Gravity's trying to squish us down, But we've got a backbone, right? We've got a spine, and we've got muscles and bones and ligaments and things. So we can be upright. We're not just jelly, you know what I mean? And that's what this card is. It's really about like overcoming those forces that make it seem a lot easier to just stay put and do nothing. Overcoming our own inertia. Body at rest tends to stay at rest until acted upon by a force. That force is you. That force is the engine of your goat. Car, goat, engine, whatever. And so this is the way forward. This is the energy that we need right now. This is how you're going to be moving forward. And it's not in here. It's not coming from here. This is garbage in the gas tank, and it's not going to work. Okay? What you need is good, pure, like racing fuel in your... you don't need dirty gas. You need really clean energy. And that's going to be burning a lot cleaner for you in a very real way. The sense of purpose, this is going to motivate you, okay? This might motivate you for like 5 minutes, but then it's going to be like, let me pick something else. You've got to have that union of the heart. You got to come together with, with that sense of purpose. Now, I want you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment as well and let me know which card on the path of the dove resonates with you the most, okay? Before we move on to the path of the serpent, I would like to do an oracle of manifestation for you. And here we have the shining wisdom. Seek teachings that support you as you manifest your goals. And the quote for you, the mantra is, I learn what I need to know. I learn what I need to know. Interesting, with that card, because we were kind of talking about that already, and I feel like you already know what you need to know. I feel like you have that shining wisdom. I feel that this card really belongs back here with our Princess of Swords, because this was where you were seeking out the wisdom that supported you as you manifest your goals. This was you learning what you needed to know. Now you know what you need to know. Why aren't you moving? Well, because you're doubting, or you're questioning, or you're unsure, or you are indecisive, or there are other tempting options out there, but it's like you already know the right path. You already have that inner wisdom. You already know what your soul really desires. That's why this card is under the surface. It's what's in your heart. This card is your inner truth. You know what you love. You know what you want. Now we gotta ignore the nonsense, ignore the bovine excrement, and we just need to get on with manifesting based on this love. Okay? But your general energy is this Nine of Swords. This is anxiety, rumination. This is us losing sleep at night because we're feeling stuck, or we're feeling confused, we're feeling turned around, we're feeling like we're in a swamp and we don't know which direction to go, kind of. This is Mars and Gemini. This is a tearing apart. Gemini is the union. And this is a tearing apart. This is trying to pull you apart from that union. So this is your mind, really, that is feeling very far away from that sense of purpose. We need to bring it back. Okay? Losing sleep at night, feeling emotionally overwhelmed. It's not going to be resolved through thinking. It may be resolved through talking, but only if it's a heart-to-heart talk. You know what I mean? Only if we're speaking from the heart here, where we're saying to ourselves or to the other person or just to the universe, this is how I feel, this is what I want, this is the goal I have for me, and this is why I want it. You know, this is what I imagine my future to be. This is why I want that future. This is what is pulling me forward. This is what I feel, this urge, to achieve. And really, it's all about the motivation to live the life you desire, to build the life that you desire. You're the magician. You're the architect of that life, right? You are designing yourself and your personal reality. But this is like our nervous system is like just frazzled right now, okay? And so we might need to turn on the light, sit up, put our feet on the floor, come back to our body. Maybe that's another reason there are no pentacles here. You got to get in touch with your body. Maybe you've been in your head too much. Been in your head too much and starting to think, well, maybe that's the path I want. Maybe that glittery thing over there is for me. We need to get out of our head and get into our bodies. So do something tactile. Do something sensory. Do a cold plunge or do a sauna or hot tub. Check with your doctor. Do some fabric. I don't know. It's just like hot or cold surfaces. Something with texture is useful, right? Just to bring us back into that sensory awareness. Perfumes and incense and things like this, right? Very, very strong tastes even, or textures like ice or, some herbs or spices that you particularly enjoy that kind of wake up your senses, right? Do things like this. Put your feet on the ground outside if it's not too cold. Put your feet on the grass. Lie in the grass, Put your fingers or your toes in the sand kind of thing to really just feel your body again. Okay. Calm your body down first, and I think the clarity arrives. Because the mind, the more it ruminates on this, is going to get further and further away from the truth. And I think if we calm the body down, then we begin to feel what's really there. And I think it's this. And I think you'll know exactly which path to take. Now, in your environment, you have a Two of Swords. This is in your relationships. I feel there is a need for this conversation. There's a need to pause, to gain balance, to reflect, to come to that inner decision. And you got to have stillness. You want to make sure that in your these two cards are very connected in the path, in the dove and serpent spread, these two positions. Okay, so your heart is trying to decide and your mind is trying to decide, and we want the heart and the mind to be on the same page. You need stillness to come to that inner decision. Your mind and your body and your heart are going to come together and make that decision. Basically, the Two of Swords is, first of all, it's that conversation, but it's also the quieting down of the mind and trusting the feeling that then arises. You're not stuck right now. You're processing everything, okay? And you're not rushing a decision because of any kind of pressure. I think you're going to invoke a sense of stillness, a sense of calm, a sense of peace, and the answer is going to come to you. When the mind quiets down, the answer will rise naturally, okay? And that answer is going to tell you which way to go and how to act and where to push, where to use that 5 of Wands, where to fight, okay? And so this is a card of peace. This is saying that at some point we have to stop thinking about it. This is, it looks like kind of like a stop, like a big, a big stop from the universe that's saying, stop the overthinking. Listen to your heart. Sometimes your mind is so active that you can't hear what your heart is really saying. Sometimes when we're with our person, we're talking too much. Both people talking at once, we're not really hearing what the other person is saying. We have to have that heart-to-heart. Not a mind-to-mind conversation necessarily, but a heart-to-heart. If we want our minds to be on the same page about the how do we do this? How do we get to our goal? First, we have to get on the heart-to-heart. First, we have to get on the same page emotionally. Do we want the same goal? Yes? Okay, cool. Now we'll go up here to the head. How do we get there together? Okay? Maybe this is financial. Maybe it's the business. Maybe it's the family. Who knows? Hopefully you know. So first, connect with the heart to make sure that you still want the same thing. And then you'll figure out how to get there. And then your mind will formulate that strategy. Because see, the mind here with that 7 of Swords is distracted as well. The mind can't formulate a proper plan because the heart isn't, we're not so sure that the heart is even still wanting the same things. Of course, we're not going to have the plan to get there because we don't know where there is. Okay. So the 7 of Swords is the strategy for the accomplishment. Okay. That we're having a difficult time finding the straightforward path because there are all these other options. Yeah. And so again, we kind of need that quiet. The 7 of Swords is a lot of noise. It's a very high signal to noise ratio. Okay. And we want to quiet down the noise so we can perceive the signal. We want that Ace of Swords just like we have the Ace of Cups. Well, first you need the Ace of Cups. You have to feel the signal from the heart. And then you'll get that signal from the mind and the higher wisdom. Okay, that spiritual insight or that spiritual download, and you'll know exactly what mountain to climb and how to get there. Okay. Because now with the 7 and 7, there are too many choices. There's too much confusion. We're sort of stuck in the mud because we're being pulled in too many different directions. Once we concentrate our forces, see, the magician is kind of like the magnifying glass that can concentrate the solar light into a very powerful but very narrow point, which would be basically an Ace of Swords, right? Or an Ace of Wands. I'm kind of hoping that our mystery card will be the Ace of Swords or the Ace of Wands. Okay. So let's just know that this card is in the fear, worry, and concern. And it's, of course, this is the fear that we don't have a plan, that we don't have the right strategy to get to the goal that we're after. Okay. And I think it's because there are different parts or different personalities here that are moving in different directions. And so it's kind of like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing a little bit, okay? And so that's what needs to be remedied right now. The Ace of Cups here, of course, is unity of the heart. You and yourself, you and your person are on the same page emotionally. This is now a new emotional beginning. The heart is opening. There's love, okay? There is a renewed connection, a closeness. Okay, there's an emotional renewal here. you're getting fired up again. You're getting you're falling in love all over again with your person or with your purpose. It's a reconnection. It's an emotional renewal. This is also that card of like feeling the truth rather than trying to analyze the truth. Okay. And this is a warmth. I feel that there's like, you're going to feel a warmth in your chest. That's when you'll know, okay, that this is happening. And I think that it's a union of the heart. You're going to let that love in, and that love is going to allow you to then begin this journey again and start making progress up that mountain again. Okay? This is the fuel. This is the motivation returning. And again, it kind of feels like you're falling in love again. And whether this is that sense of purpose or, literally like having that renewed connection with your person. And now we're on the same page, and now we can figure out the how. Because this is the why. Now there's unity in the purpose or the why we're doing it. Let's see if we get the unity of the mind or the will even with the mystery card. Maybe this will be the ace. I feel like it should be anyway. It should be the ace, or maybe it's even going to be your superpower card, the temperance card. The blending together of forces. Now we're formulating a strategy together. That we're understanding like your talents and my talents mixing together, and we're an unstoppable sort of force. It's kind of like the engine of the car has to have a transmission and a suspension and an electrical system and a cooling system and whatever other systems are there. And everything works together. And that's how the engine alone can't do anything, right? It needs wheels, right? It needs the drivetrain, I guess, at the bare minimum. So if you have a prediction for this card, please put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. The High Priestess. Very cool. The High Priestess is your intuition. The High Priestess is that spiritual part of you that's trying to lead you to the goal, to the big rock candy mountain, to the paradise, to the Emerald City at the end of the yellow brick road. Okay? To Big Rock Candy Mountain that's at the top of the spiral road up the mountain. Your intuition is leading you there. It's not your mind. It's not your overthinking mind. Okay? You've got to trust. You've got to establish that stillness and that quiet so that you can hear that intuition, and you can get reconnected with that sense of purpose, because that's going to fire you up. That's going to give you that motivation again that we need. This is the intuition. This is the inner knowing. Reduce the noise, more silence, and feel the heart. The heart will tell you. Okay? And watch for signs and symbols, synchronicities. Watch for dreams. Watch for repeating symbols or phrases or numbers even, okay? Calm your nervous system down. Get some rest, because that's going to sharpen your intuition. Trust what you feel. You already know the answer. It's just a matter of connecting with that answer and allowing that to it's almost like we can't figure out which key will start the engine of the car, Let's calm down and we'll know. And that the key that we're meant to use is going to be, we're going to feel the one. Yeah. So I like this, because on the other side of this intuition is the Empress, right? Card number 2, card number 3 is the Empress. So the High Priestess is always trying to lead you to your Empress life, to the best version of you and the best version of your personal reality. It is what the Magician is trying to create, really, Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, there's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Sagittarius. Tuesdays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.